I did not want to move from here. A person to be found in 1,000 years, a statue kneeling at the brink of decision. I withdrew and climbed back to the ground, leaving the granary sealed as I started back toward my canoe, the obsidian night closing around me. At the river, I untied the canoe's bow line, stepped in, and swept the paddle into the water, setting a wake across a mirror of stars. I'd like to show you some images. From this place. This place being the Southwest, where I have spent my entire life. I don't know how far I've walked out there. I don't know how many pairs of boots that I've gone through where I've taken needles and dental floss and sewed the leather back together. I don't know how long I've been walking out there. And miles don't matter, days don't matter. It all adds up into this, into movement, into walking through the labyrinth that's opened up into the ground. Finding places to camp behind cliffs that have fallen. Finding sanctuary, places where the wind won't touch you. Places that are eroded out of the earth like bones. Everything is revealed in the desert. There are no questions out there. There's just ground, solid ground, opened layer after layer after layer. And some people come back from, say, the edge of the Grand Canyon, and they say that it makes them feel small. And I understand that, but I think it may be a misconception. It may be that it's not a landscape that makes you feel small. It's a landscape that gets rid of your sense of scale entirely, because there have been so many times out there in the deep of winter, camping for week after week in the open desert, where at night it gets down to 10 below or 15 below zero, and there's nothing in your life but the sky and the stars. And you looking up into the sky and you think, I could just stand and walk into stars. I could become a giant. There are times in the desert when you are not small, but you are infinite. You take up everything. There is no boundary between you and it. When I look at the artifacts that the Anasazi made, especially the painted black on whites, I see that landscape. I see the Colorado Plateau. This bowl is from American Museum of Natural History, and that's where it is now. That's the storage place. But where it was from before is Pueblo Bonito in Chaco Canyon, New Mexico, where there were certain rooms that were filled to the ceiling with bowls stacked inside of each other, bowls like this. And all of their designs, you can kind of get a glimpse around this one of other vessels. They all have this stark, sharp nature to them, this repeating symmetry, just blending flawlessly all the way around. It looks like that place. It looks like that landscape. I look into this, and I see the sharp edges of the land. I see the way the earth is shaped out there. I see the routes in their vessels. I mean, to understand these, this one came out of a 13th century site in southwest Colorado. And I would sit with these bowls for hours and hours, drawing them into my sketchbook, because that was the only way I could really understand the complexity of how they got their symmetries to match up, because I could never get them to match up in my drawings. I could never do a 100% accurate rendition of these, because every line was meaningful. Every line meant something about how you paint the next line, which is what it's like walking out there, looking for those shapes, looking for water, looking for springs, looking for places where the rain has fallen. It's all the same story out there. This is a 13th century or a 14th century polychrome vessel from below the Mogollon Rim in central Arizona. And this is 100 years after the Anasazi supposedly disappeared. There's that story about one day this whole civilization just vanished. But if you start following the civilization, you can find where it went. You can find this culture's movement across the land. These images inside this bowl came from vessels that were Anasazi. And you can track the movement of styles across the Southwest, across centuries. And I look into these and I see people from the high desert living down in the pines of central Arizona. I see the shapes of their lives still recorded, that the Anasazi didn't disappear. They just moved, and they carried everything with them. And when they ran into other cultures, they adjusted. They changed the color of their vessels, but they kept these same images that reflect a landscape that is worn open, that is controlled by basic elements, by wind, by water, by gravity. I see the shape of the world where I have spent my life, where I have been walking, looking for these stories. And just to give you a sense of scale here, that's me at the bottom of that pillar. And that pillar is just some old wall, and that's all that's left of it. Some memory of a canyon. Every place out there is the memory of water, the memory of humans. Most of those vessels that I just showed you, or they all came from museums. Here's one that I found a few years ago, a seed jar in Utah underneath a ledge. And I didn't move it from this spot. In fact, the sand has just been barely swept away to show the face of it. But it's still there. It's still under that ledge. I hope. I'd like to take you on a route and show you a way down to one of these artifacts. Now, a lot of people look across Canyonland, say in southeast Utah, where this picture is, and it's not always clear how you get around, how you get from place to place. But if you know this place well enough, you know that right over this lip of white sandstone, if you go right over the edge and hang your foot down the other side, you can't see it, but you can feel it with the tip of your foot. There's a little toe hold down there. And then if you get on that toe hold, you drop your other foot down, and there's another toe hold. And it just happens that 1,000 years ago, somebody carved just a series of toe holds down this rock face. And you climb down those, and they lead to a ledge, and the ledge wraps around underneath here, and it drops down into another spot that you go through a saddle and around to the other side and through another saddle and down and around. It's this circuitous route that's constantly carrying you down deeper and deeper. And this is the landscape is just covered with these. I don't take maps out there anymore, out into this place, because it's all memory. This place is the map.